Hey, Kevin Wright here. I thought you'd be interested in a question that came up at one of my recent Monday morning Q&A sessions. I go out live on YouTube at 8:30 every Monday morning, and a bunch of people jump on and ask me questions about property finance, and I answer them. So watch this video to see what answer I gave to this question.
Good morning. If I take a residential mortgage for a 5 or 10 year term, and later, after a few years, I want to change it to a buy-to-let, do I have to pay the early repayment charge on it if you go with the same lender? Yes, you do, because you are redeeming the mortgage. Just because you're redeeming it and keeping it with the same lender, see, here's the point. The lender's not going to pass up the charge to make some money out of you, are they? They're not saying, good fella, Ticker, thanks for keeping it with us. We won't charge you the redemption penalty. They will, because they're not going to miss an opportunity to make some money out of you. So you need to think seriously about committing to certainly a 10-year term, because hey, you know, most people can't work out what they're going to do in 2 or 3 years' time, let alone 10. Excuse me. So there we are. So it's going to cost you money if you do that. I've seen a listed building at a good price with a big rear courtyard. How likely is it that I can build a house on it? Well, it's possible. Planners tend to want to see access and parking. If you can fulfill both of those needs, then you're in with a shower. Now, again, my expertise, Matthew, is finance. It isn't planning. So you need to have a chat with a planning consultant to give you a much better steer on that, and preferably one that's knowledgeable in that local area.
Says, do bridging loans of 0.45% actually exist? Yes, they do. But there's a very big caveat there. They only exist if you're prepared to put down 50% of the purchase price. So yes, so you want to get rates that low of 0.5% and below. You've got to have significant skin in the game, and 50%. So we've brokered these. So if you want a bridging loan, and if you're prepared to put up 50% deposit, we can find you a interest rate in the region of 0.45%. If you don't want to put down 50%, you're not going to get that low rate. And if you're looking for a bridging loan right now, ping me a message. Go to the tabs on my homepage on YouTube, find the About one, click it on there and get in touch.
So is taking a bridging loan risky? That depends, Wright. In do you know what you're doing? So everything is risky if you don't know what you're doing. Crossing the road is risky if you don't know to look each way and check for oncoming cars. Driving a car is risky if you haven't passed your test, because you don't know how to control the car. So everything is risky unless you know what you're doing. So the basis of the question, I would say, is that you haven't got no experience in bridging. So yes, it would be risky for you. Is it risky for us? No, because we've arranged and brokered literally hundreds of bridging loans in the last 10 years or more. So if you try and do it yourself, yes, it's risky. If you align yourself with brokers like us, we will mitigate that risk substantially. So if you've got a property you're thinking about doing bridging on, then you're coming through YouTube, all right? Thank you. Just go back to the homepage, look at the tabs along the top, click the About, get in touch, and we'll be happy to broker it for you. I've heard it's a struggle to get a buy-to-let mortgage when a property I'm interested in doesn't have a kitchen. How true is this? And is this when a bridging loan comes in? Okay, you've heard correct. And here's why. Because the basis of buy-to-let mortgages are ready to rent. In other words, you can put a tenant straight in there. Now, how many tenants do you know that would move into a property and pay you the market rent for a property that hasn't got a kitchen in? Probably none, I would say. So therefore, if you can't rent it out, you won't get a buy-to-let mortgage on it until you've made it in a position to rent it out. But buy-to-let lenders are not going to give you a mortgage so you can spend weeks on end, even months, sorting it out. Minor things like upgrading the decoration or replacing an average kitchen with a nicer kitchen, that's okay. But the point is, it's got to be rentable. So is this where a bridging loan comes in? It is, unless unless you can fit the kitchen in between exchange and completion. So if that's all it is, it's really good apart from the kitchen. So it's in good decorative order apart from the kitchen, and you can get the owner's permission to get in there and fit a kitchen between exchange and completion. Then you could possibly make it mortgageable like that, and then you wouldn't need bridging.
How do we establish what the likely cost is of renewing a short lease property in an auction purchase? And would a mortgage provide funds to renew the lease during valuation? Right, multiple parts to that question. First of all, you need to get a specific leasehold enfranchisement surveyor to establish the likely cost. Anything you do yourself is going to be guesswork. Even if you use some of these online calculators, it's still going to be pretty much guesswork. So you have to, now that's going to cost you a few £100s to get that. Now the risk is getting that when you haven't secured a property. Now if you're buying through an agent, of course, you can get to a, shall we say, a conditional exchange of contracts, where you say, subject to what the cost of extending the lease is, I'll buy your property. And you could probably put some figures in there. And if you can't get it for that, you can pull out without penalty. Now, you can't do that in an auction purchase. And the other thing there is, if you're looking at buying a short lease at auction, I think that's a really serious escalation of risk, and certainly not something I would advise doing, because to renew a short lease through the statutory route is going to take you a minimum of 6 months, and it could be up to 12 months. And you don't get the right to do that until you've owned the flat for 2 years. Now, you can circumvent that by getting the current vendor to issue a Section 42 notice to start the process, and then assigning the lease to you. But that's a lot more difficult to do in an auction process than it is for a normal estate agent. So I think you could be onto a very sticky wicket here. Would a mortgage provide the funds to renew the lease? No, they wouldn't, because they wouldn't even give you a mortgage in the first place, in most cases, if the lease is too short. And mortgage lenders start bailing out when the lease is below 85 years. Not all mortgage lenders, but your choice of mortgage lenders diminishes when the lease is less than 85 years. And the lower it is, the less choice you've got, until you've got virtually no choice at all. And they're certainly not going to provide funds. So pretty much short lease properties shouldn't be bought on a mortgage. So Altav, I don't know if my guess is you're dipping your toe into the water of something you haven't done before, and you could get your toe bitten off, because buying short leases without a proper understanding of what you're doing can backfire massively. As some of the people that have come in today that are on my advanced training Ninja Investor program and above will know, I train people on how to buy short leases safely and how to finance them and how to get the funds, to borrow the funds to renew the lease. But it's quite a complex project to take on. Good. Which is why most people don't do it. Now, if you found that question and my answer interesting, there's a whole load more of this that goes on a Monday morning. Now, you can either log in through YouTube or you can join my Facebook group, Recycle Your Cash for Property Investors, and get it streamed through there. The link is on this page. And if you want access to my whole back catalogue of Q&As, which is well over 50 hours of viewing time, then I've got a way to do that. Join Fiverr Tribe and you can get access to that back catalogue with a simple word search facility. So just type in the question that you want answers to and it'll come up on screen almost instantaneously all the times that I've mentioned your particular keyword. It's like having a property finance Wikipedia, I guess. How do you access this? By joining my Fiverr Tribe. Click the link on the page and guess what? It's a £5 a month. So I look forward to seeing you at future Q&As.